The internet has revolutionized many areas of especially that of communications in a radical way to the point of becoming a global means of communication today in our lives. Before, if we wanted to read a newspaper, we had to buy a local paper edition. But today, with a single click, we can not only read our local newspaper, but also the newspaper from anywhere in the world with a permanent update of content. But have you ever asked yourself in which way does the use of internet affect your daily life? Now the excessive use of internet is killing our attention and concentration capacity, which makes them humans being a more sedentary, lazy, and much less creative species. It also has many effects on the body. For example, eye strain due to long-term use of the computer or poor posture due to extensive reading of a screen. Indeed, the percentage of adults who needed glasses in the last 30 years has grown from 25% to 42%. In conclusion, the internet is an essential part in the current life of people who want to be communicated and informed, but with a moderate and responsible use of it. Internet users must compare and evaluate information of any subject they seek before they read and share false data, and they must also disconnect from that online world to avoid consequences on their health. In other words, use this amazing invention in a proper way. But on other hand, the internet not only has a negative impact in our society, there are also positive things to rescue. The internet was initially used to contact strangers, but later it became a platform where people develop and cultivate their existing relationships. According to experts, the most influential impact of networks in social life is through communication patterns. The internet has fostered the development of a large number of new activities and services, also facilitating new types of social interactions that were not previously possible. But also, the point is that internet has also a dark side. Social networks positively affect the social life of most of its users, but although there are also negative aspects such as an increased narcissism, superficial relationships, and stress. And here's where we talk about how social networks has influenced our daily lives. We have observed how social networks have become protagonists of an important matrices. For example, movements generated in social networks have generated opinions from issues of the entertainment world to more serious topics of a political or social nature. Companies, politicians, and great leaders have noticed the power that social networks have within society and have understood that they need a presence in them to increasingly reach their followers and manage to get closer to them. And that's why we see how today, from the smallest company to the largest multinationals, they have social media presence. According to research, the internet has become an instrument of social communication due to the increase of number of teenagers who use the technology. Therefore, teens were forced to choose between real relationships and relationships by social media. But also, the research said that teens had a hard time maintaining face-to-face relationships while exploring cyberspace. Also, we have seen how internet influence on children in a different way. Personally, I did surveys with family members who have children who clearly have internet access. I asked them about many aspects, about their behavior, about how their academic were, about what their attitude was when they have no internet. And my conclusion was that today generations of children are so used to excessive use of internet and electronic devices, and by not having it, their attitude change. We can draw different conclusions from all this. For example, that we should not abuse anything. Everything in excess is bad. The impact of the internet in our daily life has reached the point where we cannot live without it, where we feel that it's so essential that if we don't use it, we are empty, but nothing is further from reality. But on the other hand, people are social beings by nature. The internet gives us the advantage of relating to each other regardless of distance and time. The problem begins where We suffer the consequences of sharing absolutely everything on the networks. We want to impress others, and therefore we need the approval of those around us. The real problem is not the internet itself, but the people who let themselves be carried around the web, modifying their behaviors, their customs, and even their way of thinking.